All right. Welcome to another edition of Shabbat Lounge. This is Matt.
And Jake here.
We wanted to come before you today and make a quick video about the election.
Yes, it is in the news today.
Yep, a little bit.
And these days.
Yep. You can't turn on the TV without hearing about it. So I'm sure, Jake, you've turned on the TV at some point and seen a political ad.
I do not have TV, but I'm sure I would.
Well, that's a
It's
good
on the
place to be.
YouTubes. It's the ads on the internet, too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they're everywhere, and it never stops, does it?
No, it's always happening.
Yeah. So it's a nonstop deal, and please bear with us if we lose our video. We've had all kinds of craziness with that, and anyway, you may see us or you may not.
You may not.
But we're still here. Have no fear. So, but we did, start thinking about a long time ago. But by the way, we appreciate you stopping by and taking a look. And we have a website with lots of different things for you to look at where we keep our content. We ask you to take a look at some of these other things and give us a like, share this with someone. So anyway, that's sabbathlounge.com. But when it comes to the elections, you just can't escape it. It's everywhere. And we started thinking about what would Yeshua do?
Yeah, because that's really what we want to model after, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is if we're trying to be like Yeshua, let's model everything after Yeshua.
Yeah.
And where does he fall on this?
Yeah. And, we have tremendous amount of pressure from people around us. Hey, you should go vote. You should go vote. We just hear that all the time. And, and it's kind of a personal question. First off, I think it's also within your rights to go, it's not your opinion. It's not, I mean, what
not
am I
any
trying
of
to
your
say?
Business.
Yes.
Yeah.
What does it matter to you if I
Get your
vote
nose
or
out of
not?
my business, pal.
Yeah, that's right. And any old beeswax. And so isn't that, what we say we're about is freedom, but yet we put a lot of pressure on people to do this and tell us about it and wear the sticker, I voted.
Yeah.
So, but, it just got us to thinking, would Yeshua live? Would he have voted? So, Jake, I'm going to ask you, do you think he would have voted?
I don't think in the time he lived he did.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's the same yesterday, today, and forever. And I think that he's more interested in a different kingdom.
Yeah. Well, when you think about it, he, first off, he owns the world. I mean, wouldn't you think that's safe to say he owns it?
Yeah.
It's his land.
Right.
So makes him a landowner by default.
Yes.
So, and regardless if the Roman government would have accepted that, but go research what you had to do to vote in Rome. And one of them was to be a landholder. You had to own land. You had to be a Roman citizen, born in Rome. And do you know if they had a democracy or a republic in Rome?
I am not sure.
It was a republic.
Probably a republic, yeah.
It was a Roman republic, and ours is based upon that same model, and all through history, there's a few moments in time where people set up governments like this. And, the human race has kind of dabbled in it from Greece to Rome. And so, interesting enough, Yeshua comes at a place and a time in which people vote.
Yeah.
And that's, he lives in that system. But yet he doesn't say anything.
And then he doesn't say anything about it.
And so I say, and so I've had this argument with people that were like, well, he couldn't vote. But he could have made it work out. So
he could have made it work out, yeah, if it was important enough.
Just like Moses. Moses ended up in the middle of Pharaoh's court. He made that work out. And so in all practicality, growing up, Moses was an Egyptian. Nobody knew anything about him other than this baby showed up and he's an Egyptian, and Yeshua could have definitely worked out a thing like that. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
He could have been born into a rich, wealthy family that owned land in Rome. And then all of a sudden, here he is. But he wasn't about that. You said something about the kingdom. What do you elaborate on that? What do you mean by that?
Oh, well, obviously, he has a kingdom that he sets up, which is outside of and above and beyond the nation in which whoever is listening may live.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so he's more interested in that, I think, and there's the understanding that it's Yahweh who sets up governments and makes them fall, and he puts in charge who he wants in charge at a given time, whether it's for blessing his people, or sometimes it's the rod of correction on his people. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, no, I definitely agree with that for sure. So, and I think it's this concept of being an ambassador. So, there's several times, it's probably mostly Paul that talks about being an ambassador for Yeshua. And, and if you look up what an ambassador does, you find that they live. So if you're an ambassador to China, what does that mean while you're living in China?
So that means I go live in China and I represent the United States. And so would I be able to, are there free, fair elections in China?
No, bad example, maybe. But you would have to live by their rules.
Yeah.
So, and it's like those kids that went to North Korea that years ago that snuck in and they got captured, and I think one of them got killed or something. Mm-hmm. And come to find out, they did not do the rules of North Korea. In fact, they went against them. And it's like, what did you think was going to happen when you go someplace and you go against their rules?
Yeah. I mean, even Dennis Rodman knew to go by the rules.
Yes, he did. Great prime example.
Yes.
Going by the rules, by the way. So he seems like a real rule follower, that Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, this term of ambassador, if you're an ambassador someplace, you're kind of part of something. And sure, you could experience the culture there, but you're not really ever going to be one of them. You're an ambassador. You're representing someone else. And I feel like that principle applies to us. You can argue, we're supposed to be coming out of Babylon, not being Babylon.
Yeah.
And I think it's just something you should research. You should search your heart about, especially if you're not sure you want to vote. And people are putting pressure on you, I would study that, pray about it. And I don't think you should feel pressure. I mean, by all means, if that's something you want to do, you should do it, for sure, but I don't think you should be pressured into out of guilt or out of, if you don't vote, our country's going to go down in flames. Okay. Well, I also believe it says, am I in charge of the country, or is Yahuwah in charge of this thing?
Yeah, he's kind of running the show.
Yeah.
But I think we like to give ourselves all this human power to do things just so we feel like we can do something. So we're in charge of our own destiny.
Yes.
We can go where we want, and then we get our say also. And I think, most of the time our say is in our actions, and when our actions are what they are in this country, I'm basically praying we don't get what we deserve.
Yes. So. We've received a lot of mercy, and we continue to receive that, and I want to see more of that for sure.
Yeah.
So, but you're right. When you just add up the list of, if you just do a plus delta chart on this, and go things that make us righteous versus things that make us not righteous, not righteous side wins, hands down.
Yeah. So
lots
praise
of
Yahweh for mercy.
Yes, we thank Him for mercy. But I think that's really it, unless there was something else you wanted to say about it. But we wanted to keep it short and sweet.
Yeah, just that. Can you prove to me, Matt, that when you went and voted, if you go and vote, that's getting counted correctly?
The only way I could prove that is if I followed the rules and I stayed after the primary and became like a delegate and became a voting judge and did all the things you're supposed to. Then maybe I could know, but no.
You can know if your area of responsibility counted votes correctly,
right.
But there's millions of those around the country, right?
Right.
There's several of those. So,
and then the whole thing with the Electoral College and what they do. So technically, they're supposed to follow but they could go rogue. I think until just recently they changed the rule and they have to vote the way the state votes. I think like in July that happened. But up until then, they could go rogue. But I mean, there's just, like you said, there's so many possibilities of how this thing could go wrong and be influenced.
It's so easy to corrupt the process.
Yeah.
That, can you really trust it in a fallen world like this?
And I think the other question I keep coming back to is if the choice between two things and both of them aren't good, how is that the right thing?
Right.
So I don't think there's a lot of biblical precedence for that.
Yeah.
So here you can do this thing or this thing. They're both bad. So choose one.
Yeah.
Show me that in Scripture.
Right.
I don't think you can show me that.
I can't.
Yeah. But we are not trying to tell you what to do. I mean, you can vote. Jake and I might vote. We're not saying we are voting or we're not voting, but I do think it's something to consider about, what would, the little bracelets, WWJD, what would Yeshua do? Would he vote? I don't think he would have. I don't think he did. I think if he wanted us to vote, he would have said something,
Anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all he says is render to Caesar's what is Caesar. So could you say your vote is Caesar's? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, maybe you can make that argument.
Yeah.
But
I think one of the things I go back to is in Jeremiah 29, it tells you to seek peace with the land that you've been sent to, basically, when they are scattered. And is voting a way to do that? Maybe.
You can make that argument, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So,
especially if you feel like one side is going to go to riots and the other side isn't.
Yeah.
So, well, we hope to give you some things to think about. Not that we are claiming to be experts or have all these things figured out in our own brain ourselves, but it is worthy to ponder, worthy to think about and kick the tires on. Would Jesus vote? And, just think about what we're saying there and check that out.
Yep. Pray about it and look into it.
Yeah. And search the Scriptures, just like Grandma said.
Yeah.
Search the Scriptures. But Grandma also would hide a $50 bill in there. So search the Scriptures became this for me.
Yeah, just dump it out.
Yes. But, I mean, really, read it. Don't do what I did. I don't do that anymore.
Because, you go to it so many times without a $50 bill in there, you kind of stop searching.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Grandma's not here to put that in my Bible anymore either.
Yeah.
So, anyway. Well, we do appreciate you stopping by to listen to Shabbat Lounge. And this is Madden.
Jake.
Signing off. Thank you.
Bye.